Canon makes some amazing cameras and Canon makes some absolute crap. I can hopefully guide you into buying the amazing stuff and not the crap. But first, I need to know about you. I'm not talking about like your hopes and dreams and childhood trauma. I'm talking about how you're gonna use the camera. Because with these things, there's no one size fits all. Generally, we're talking about two camps. The first is your creators. These are your YouTubers, your family vloggers, basically anybody who's just trying to capture footage or capture content. And then there's photographers who they really don't care about the video stuff. They're just all about the photos. I'll give you my pick for each one of these groups within the beginner budget range, but then a third option, which is gonna be more expensive, but catered toward a higher sort of professional group, like your freelance hybrid creators and just general professional YouTubers who are doing this for a living and need something that's going to go up one level higher. I haven't forgotten about cinematographers. It's just, you should buy Sony. As a creator, what you want to look for is a camera body that's relatively small and easy to take with you, while still being really good on the video side and moderately good on the photo side for all of those thumbnails and Instagram photos. My camera for you is the Canon R50V. The R50V is a pretty impressive little body. It's lightweight, but still has pretty decent battery life, and it never overheated on me. In video mode, the image quality is excellent, and it has all of the settings you'll need. It shoots 4K up to 60 frames per second or 1080p up to 120, and all these modes can be recorded in C-Log 3, which makes a huge difference on your color grading flexibility and dynamic range. In other words, the color out of this footage just looks way better than anything you'll get out of a non-log shooting camera like the R10. The R50V has a dedicated slow and fast motion mode, which makes switching between filming A-roll and filming B-roll super easy. Plus, its image stabilization performs really well with minimal edge warble, which is imperative if you're a vlogger. On top of that, the autofocus is phenomenal. It's top of the line, just like all of the new Canon cameras out there. As far as photos go, it certainly does the job. As a creator, you're probably not gonna miss the electronic viewfinder too much, and while there aren't a ton of typical manual controls we'd like to have on a photo-centric camera, and there's also no mechanical shutter, it still takes super high quality raw photos at up to 15 frames per second for up to 36 frames, which is more than enough for hobbyist shooting. Now, I was thinking about what lens to pair with this camera, and it's a little difficult because it's a crop sensor camera. Canon APS-C sensors crop your effective focal length on your lens by 1.6 times whatever the rating of the lens is. So if you want that wide field of view, which most creators do, we're gonna have to get a super wide lens. Canon's own RF lens offerings for crop sensor cameras are a little bit sparse, so we're gonna turn to the third parties here. I'm warning you, this lens is not exactly cheap, but it will allow you to get the most out of your camera, and I think it's totally worth it. I'm talking about the Sigma 10 to 18mm f2.8 DN Contemporary. This lens will give you a constant 2.8 aperture across the entire 10 to 18mm focal length, which is effectively a 16 to 29mm focal length with a full frame equivalent. That 2.8 aperture is going to give you a nice blurry background and good low light performance. If you want a more budget friendly option, the Canon RFS 10 to 18mm f4.5 to 6.3 is an option, but this will greatly limit your images, and if you can at all swing it, I think you should go for the Sigma, because the 2.8, that's gonna make a big difference for you. All told, the creator package with the R50V and that lens of choice is gonna run you around $1,400. Even budget cameras are kind of expensive these days, but times are changing. With Artlist, you can generate incredible cinematic footage without ever leaving your desk. Their most recent update is more lifelike and impressive than ever. Powered by CDance 1.0, C-Dream 4.0, Kling 2.5 Turbo, and Google's Nano Banana and Veo 3 models. In layman's terms, they have the best of the best, and they're constantly curating and updating their models to give you the best tools possible and stay on top of the competition. The best part is whatever you generate with Artlist is cleared for use in all of your projects with their super simple license. No need to worry about copyright claims anymore. If you need other assets like music, sound effects, templates, LUTs, or AI voiceovers to complete your videos, Artlist has those too. It is the perfect one-stop shop for all of your AI video creation and editing needs, and you can get 2 free months added on to any of their annual subscriptions by going through the link that I have down in the description below. Thank you, Artlist, for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to talking about the best Canon camera for beginning photographers. For photographers, Canon's offerings look a little bit different. You're going to want a body with more manual controls for quicker adjustments on the fly, better ergonomics, an EVF, and a mechanical shutter. The best camera that fits most of these criteria within the beginner budget is Canon's R10. This is a 24 megapixel camera, which means you'll have a little bit of room to crop in, albeit not a ton. It's equipped with Canon's 30 FPS raw burst mode, as well as pre-shooting capability, which ensures you'll never miss the perfect shot when things are happening fast. The R10 can also fire up to 15 frames per second with its mechanical shutter, which is gonna cut down on any of the motion blur that you get with an electronic shutter. The camera has nice ergonomics and more of those dials and buttons that we're used to seeing on photo cameras, but it's still quite small. Thankfully, it doesn't feel toyish at all though, which was the real downfall of its cousin, the R50. Lens choice for this camera is gonna vary entirely depending on what you want to shoot, but if you're just getting into photography in general, I'm gonna recommend that you get two different lenses. The first is the RF 50mm f1.2, and the second is the RF 28mm f2.8. These are the Nifty 50 and Pancake lens. You'll notice that both of these lenses are primes, which means you can't change the focal length on them at all. This does a few things. Number one, it makes them much better lenses for less money, but it also does something interesting psychologically. Being stuck with one or two focal lengths forces you to be more intentional with your compositions, and honestly, I think it just is a lot of fun and allows me to be more creative. Both of these lenses are super cheap, but I've taken some of my favorite photos ever on them, and their small size makes them really easy to take along when you're traveling. If you're planning on doing wildlife photography or birding or something, then obviously you're gonna want a much longer lens, but these two are great just for general purpose. The R10 plus those lenses will again run you around $1,400. These are my two beginner recommendations, but what if you've got a little bit more budget and you want something that's gonna be more professional? If you've got the cash, the R6 Mark II is absolutely my favorite Canon camera right now. The camera isn't insanely expensive like the R5 Mark II, but it still offers 4K 60 with zero overheating and no record limit, a full frame sensor for wider field of view and a greater depth of field, a mechanical shutter, weather sealing, a full pro body with tons of controls and programmable buttons, IBIS for photos and video, a nice EVF, dual card slots, and blazing fast burst photo speeds. If you pair this camera with a lens like the RF 15 to 35mm f2.8, you've got pretty much the perfect creator camera, but it's an incredible stills lens and camera as well, which makes it ideal for hybrid shooters like freelancers. However, if you just want a more professional stills camera and you don't really care about video, then the R7 is going to be your best option because it has pretty much all the same professional features as the R6 Mark II, but it's on an APS-C sensor, which makes it cheaper and better for wildlife because it'll give you more reach out of your lenses. The R7 is a great camera. If you want to check out the full review of that I've made, you should watch this video right up over here.